is, geez, they've already done something like I'm interested in. Why don't I give them a call? And a site isn't going to impress somebody. What's going to impress somebody is something that's a little bit close. And the user-defined information, the stuff that moves week to week and month to month, is very often what will help get you up the search engines.
I think also in relation to your overall business plan and how your website works for you as part of your business strategy, it's a really useful thing to be able to monitor statistics. Who goes, how often do you get hits on what page? Where do people land? How long do they stay there?
Yeah.
From which page do they go to which page?
It's...
those things can actually inform your business planning.
Yes.
And I think that it's a very useful strategy tool as well as
Very simple example. 3 years ago, I created for my karate group a website. The aim of the karate website was to bring adult learners, people who've been doing karate as kids before, back to karate in the Tyneside area. Very simple site. That was the aim of it. When I put the Google tracker on it, what did I find? The place that most people were going to was, where can I send little Johnny on a Wednesday night to learn karate as a kid? It wasn't adult returners coming to the site at all. It was parents wanting to know where to send the kids. So the tracker was what told me that. And the Google tracker, there are others, but the Google tracker is very good. If you've got a really, really simple idea about what you're trying to achieve, the message that you want, you've got a nice, simple focus of what your business is, and you can relate that effectively to the website designer, you get something back that reflects that. If you give them a bit of a message that says, well, we're starting from here and we want to be over there somewhere, they've got free rein. They're going to charge you an arm and a leg for it. So have a clear idea. It doesn't need to say which image is. It doesn't need to say how many pages. It just needs to start with, here's the strategy, here's who we're looking to talk to, here's the sorts of messages we're looking to get across to. And that will be very different if you're Amazon to if you're an organisation that's an umbrella for dozens of companies in the same world. If you're in debt collection and you need an umbrella that covers a variety of companies who've got different businesses, but they all need to be in the same space, or you're selling books, those two sites are clearly going to be very different. But a bad brief can make this one look like this and this one look like that. And that will cost you a lot of money. If you build it, they'll come. Well, that's not strictly true. And Google AdWords and trackers and keywords will help with that. The way that people get to you will be many and varied. And they won't often come to your homepage. They will very often come to something much further down your website. So it doesn't matter about, you can spend all the time in the world thinking about how the website looks. You really need to think about the individual pages, because that's where somebody will end up. You've got to build some dynamics around it so they can get back to the homepage. But people will get to you through competitions or surveys. You can do pay-per-click. I'm currently spending about £300 a month on Google AdWords. And if you choose good search phrases and you've got a good landing page, you can drive quite a lot of traffic there. That's not going to matter if the call to action on that site is not good. So, yes, you've got to get them there, and news releases and case studies and press releases all help. They help massively. Particularly if you can get news releases and press releases out to organisations which are affiliated to Google. So if you choose a phrase which means something to you and put it into Google and sign up for their news releases, just start seeing who sends, where the news comes from. And when you're sending your news releases out, try and target those organisations deliberately, because there are online news feeds which feed automatically into Google, and as soon as they're seen there by Google, your search engine rankings will come up, because that's another hit for Google as far as they're concerned.
Can you explain how the newsfeed works?
I look after 4 brands, 4 different names. So I put each of those brand names into newsfeed. Google News has a place at the top. You can click a button and say create a new alert. I think they call them news alerts, and you can give them your email address, put in the word that you're interested in or the phrase that you're interested in. Then once a day or whenever a news release comes out with that word or that phrase in, it'll send you an email.
Right, but you can't do it the other way around. You can't, if you, for example, if I was to update my newsletters on my website, so if I was to update that, I can't do it the other way around. So
you can't force it to them, but what you can do is you can see where the news comes from. So when you're opening your email in the morning, Google alerts, oh, there's my phrase again. Oh, who's got that? For me, there's a particular company in Australia that's always got news releases on a particular area. And as soon as Google sees those, it comes through on Google Alerts. Does that make sense? So if I send my press release to this Australian company, they'll put it on their website and it comes through as a Google Alert. Now, because it's being seen by Google, it tends to push it further up the search engine rankings. So if you've got a press release, once you understand where Google's feeds are coming from, you can deliberately target those. It doesn't mean you'll get your press in there, but it is worth looking at. So Google Alerts, Google Tracker, and Google's keywords all have a relationship with websites. And if you have news releases, try and send them out to the people who are feeding Google with their news. But you'll only find out what news that is of relevance to you by using Google Alerts. So get them to start sending you information that you're interested in and start looking at who is sending that information to Google. For me, there's a particular Australian site for one of the brands. For other people, it might be, the Law Digest Weekly might be the key feed in your area, or it may be some particular council website that's updated that Google uses as a news feed. Very often, people building websites can't find the time to finish. You just need to do it. You just need to tell the designer, it's going to be December the 1st, we've got to have the site ready. If you set an unclear target, chances are you're never going to get your website finished. And if you haven't had time to proofread, send it to one of your colleagues. People like to be asked. People very often have got ideas of their own. It doesn't have to be specifically written for the web. It just has to be there. It has to look about right. Google won't read English sentences, but your consumers and users of your website will. But if you haven't got time to proofread it, try and get somebody else who can. If it's out of date already, well, that is going to happen. And if it's not what you expected, back 5 stages to the brief. The brief needs to reflect your business strategy. If it doesn't do that, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg and it won't achieve what you're looking for. There's no such thing as a perfect website. I think you just have to be brave. I've got to the stage again and again in the last 4 or 5 years where I've continued to tweak a website. And the last 4 or 5 changes, frankly, didn't actually matter much. You're better off just getting the site out there because you'll be changing it again in 6 months. Somebody else will come along from another piece of your organisation with another idea, a better idea. Websites evolve, different people take over. I'm not running the karate website anymore. The website that I did as a brochure, sliced up, it's still there. Nobody else has been interested in fixing it because it's a low focus area of our business. So I think you just have to be brave with websites and do it. And you do need to measure. So, brief summary. Who are you? It's probably the most important question for you. What's your business direction? And why have you got a website? Everybody wants a website, but why? What are you hoping to get? Are you looking to sell books, tell people about your organisation, or provide a service to your ratepayers? Could be any of those. And those 3 sites will be very different. And the best way to predict the future is to invent it. If you're sitting here and you've got ideas for your website, you're the people that are going to make it happen. Technical people just respond to you. You've got the money. They'll build it for you. What they build depends on your ideas, your strategy.